Well, I still think I'm still one person, and I'm a human being who reacts to the world I see around me, to the issues I see around me, and sometimes I react through my words, which I may express orally or in writing, and sometimes through my actions, which I may do through politics or parliament or public life. But it's still the same guy. I'm still looking at the same things, and I'm saying, hey, this matters, and we ought to do something about it. They're just different ways of expressing that. And if the good Lord has given me the talent to express my reaction in more than one way, let me try and do that. Well, I was always very interested in international affairs, and I joined the UN High Commissioner for Refugees at a time when the regular UN, as it were, was supposed to be out of bounds to Indian citizens because of the geographical nationality issues. So what I did was I ended up, frankly, coming into the UN High Commission for Refugees without knowing very much about what they did. Because it was a UN body, I was attracted. But I got completely caught up in the extraordinary work they were doing, and my arrival almost coincided with an eruption of refugee crises. We had the Vietnamese boat people fleeing communism, coming to the countries of Southeast Asia. We had the eruption in Eritrea and Ethiopia, the Horn of Africa, Somalia as well. We had the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, Afghan refugees coming across to both Iran and Pakistan. We had the Somoza dictatorship falling to the Sandinistas in Nicaragua, and refugees flowing all over to Central American countries. It was just amazing. There was just one major hotspot crisis around the world, and having joined a small, largely anonymous organization, within 6 months I found it was in the headlines of the top 5 stories in the BBC World News every day. So it was just an extraordinary education in how refugees are the human victims of the big sort of geopolitical stories we read in the newspapers. And being a part of that is what got me first into the UN. After 11 years of that, I moved to peacekeeping. To my luck again, peacekeeping exploded. We had big operations coming around the world. I was in charge of the Yugoslavia operation during the worst of that period. And then I ended up with, what was it, a 29-year career at the UN, which was, as you say, not what I would have thought I would have done when I first got into that work. Joel Bernard Shaw put it better than I would. He said, I write for the same reason a cow gives milk. It's kind of inside you, it's got to come out. If it doesn't, you'd be in real pain and distress if it didn't. So I would finish a long, hard day's work and then sit down and write at night, or on weekends, or on travels. It just was who I was, and it was important to me. So initially I used fiction as my principal means, because especially working for the UN, there were several restrictions of what you could say and couldn't say, which might offend member states. Fiction was an easy way out. But gradually I began to write more about India, and now more and more about other things, because to me what's really important is to put on paper ideas, issues, concerns that can help influence minds, can help people think and move forward. And I think that's the greatest gratification I have, is when people come up to me and say, listen, you've changed the way we think about something, or you've inspired me to do this or be that. What more can a thinker or a writer ask for than that? And I'm privileged to have had that experience. I've always had this boundless curiosity about the world, about other people, other ways of thinking and being. I've never been very judgmental. What may be a flaw in personal relations, I do suffer fools gladly, and I do suffer all sorts of people who come up to me, because I tend not to judge them. It's part of, it's, if you like, the flip side of this curiosity about the world, and the perception that for everything that you feel, you experience, you do, there's somebody else who's had a different experience, a different thought, a different background to come to, and that you are enriched by knowing about their perspective rather than seeing everything through yours. And literature helps with that. It really expands the horizon of the reader. It's great, and I must say I'm very pleased JLF has come to Toronto. I'm a big fan of JLF. I've been there since the second ever JLF in Jaipur. I just think that the whole idea of bringing people together is so important, because writers do think, others they couldn't write. So they have something to say through their thinking and through their writing. And if people come and are sparked off by that, it can lead to unimaginably rich rewards. But when you bring a JLF abroad, you're also exporting something of India's vigor, India's vibrancy, India's culture to new lands. And I think that's an absolutely great thing we're doing. I'm very happy to be here for that reason.